This is your morning brief for Wednesday, March 27th. Electronic Arts is laying off 350 workers, but is making a comeback with Apex. So the workers laid off is about 3.8% of the workers. They said it's mostly in China. A little bit of a slowdown in growth, still growing, but a slowdown. And really this Apex is making up for any weakness that is in the business. So Apex just a short time ago, just a few months ago, I think it was in February, they released this game. No advertising pre-release. The day it was released is the first time it had become known that it even existed. It had 10 million users in one day. I think it's now up to 25 million per kind of monthly users they call them. It's still nowhere near Fortnite, which is 200 million users, but it's still a remarkable. We're only in March. They built it up to 25 million. I imagine that just keeps growing. More importantly, is Fortnite is really paving the way and showing these gamers how to make money. And it's a free-to-play game, and then in kind of a backhanded slang way, people are also calling them pay-to-win models. Okay, so because there's these microtransactions that you purchase in the game, so you work really hard and you get to a certain level, and they offer you new powers like crystals or a weapon or something to move to the next level. I'm not a gamer, so I'm trying to just I'm just going by what I've read, and so there's no possible way you could move on. You just have such a huge disadvantage if you don't purchase these things. So if you're addicted at all, and these games are addictive, you make this purchase, and then you're off to the next level, and you're competitive again. So they make billions. So by example, just by example only, I looked at, I just did a quick Google search, and it just happened to come up with this one. And this is by no means the biggest or the best. Activision had made $1.6 billion in microtransactions in 2015. In 2016, they more than doubled that to $3.6 billion. Now that was 2016. That's just happened to be my Google search. I'm sure it's more now. And Fortnite is just the leader in this business model. I think they might have been the first ones to do free to play, because these other ones, not only did you have a microtransactions, but you also paid, I don't know, $50 or $100 just to buy the game in the first place. But I think that part of the model is kind of going away, and it's microtransactions that are really driving the business at the moment. So you got to have a good title, get people involved, and then you get them on the microtransactions. So that's the business model. Really interesting. I did look at Activision the other day. Just happened to be looking at it. Nothing to do with this Electronic Arts layoff here. And I thought the numbers were actually pretty good. And investors hated the last quarter. Just wasn't strong enough there. But I thought it looked actually pretty good. I have noticed the stock has really started to act better after a very big drop in the beginning of the year here. So I'm starting to think that maybe Activision's one to look at. I would say definitely Electronic Arts with this Apex game. Pretty interesting. All right, move on to the next item is really housing. I have two back-to-back ones here. First of all, Lennar Housing or Lennar Homes reported a small miss, but sees favorable conditions in the near term. So the miss is neither here nor there. It's small, and they really are saying they see favorable conditions moving forward. So shares are up 2% in pre-market. KB Homes beat earnings estimates, and the shares are up 3%. So I don't cover a ton of housing names right now, but I always follow them anyways because they're good economic indicators. Boots on the ground indicators, not GDP is just such a big number, and how do they even calculate that number? And it's just such I don't know. I find these ones are more tangible, or something I can really understand on a lower level, boots on the ground kind of level. And both these housing companies are doing well. That bodes well for me. I think that's good. Says the consumer's pretty strong, so that's very positive. So we've heard, and you've been listening to my show. I've been hearing a little more and more about slowdowns and recession maybe coming. This is contrary to that. So you do get a ton of conflicting data in when you play this stock market game, and it's you're constantly trying to figure out what matters. And I'd say this matters. I just think housing reports are legit, and they're actual companies operating in the space. And there's two in one day said, hey, things look actually pretty good. Okay, now having said that, futures are flat, so we're probably going to have a ho-hum opening, but as we've seen recently, it can open one way and completely change by the end of the day. Anyhow, that's your morning brief for Wednesday, March 27th. Let's go find some gems.